There's been a study to look at whether Ron Paul and Mitt Romney are in cahoots, and they found out that Ron Paul in the debates never attacks Mitt Romney, okay, and has hardly laid a glove on him in terms of the advertising. And so there's something weird going on here, because Ron Paul is vicious to the other candidates like Gingrich and Santorum, which he should be. And I think his ads against those guys have been effective and true. But it is weird that he's not doing much against Mitt Romney. So when he was on with Wolf Blitzer, Wolf asked him about this. Let's watch the response.
I want you to respond, if you will, Congressman. Rick Santorum keeps suggesting, and his supporters, his strategists, keep saying you're in cahoots with Mitt Romney. You're trying to help Mitt Romney secretly behind the scenes in order to, for whatever reason, and that's why you're running ads going after Rick Santorum. Earlier, you ran ads going after some of the other candidates, but you never say anything or do anything critical of Mitt Romney. Go ahead, talk to Rick Santorum. Tell him why you think you're not in cahoots with Mitt Romney.
Well, you know, if anybody comes to any of our meetings or our rallies, I talk about issues, you know, foreign policy and civil liberties and the economy and the gold standard and the Federal Reserve. But if that's all he has to talk about, that means he doesn't have much of a platform to talk about. I would think we're supposed to be talking about the issues. But to construct something like that, I mean, he just pulled that out of the air because there's no truth to it. But if he wants to spend his energy doing that, you can't do anything about it. But he dreamt that up, and I think he should talk about the issues instead. That's what I think I'm supposed to do.
Well, you know what? That wasn't much of a denial. He's like, oh, yeah, I talk about the issues. I guess he doesn't talk about the issues. Anyway, next question. Okay, next question.
Have you run ads critical of Mitt Romney? He says you haven't, but you know the facts.
Yeah, we have. At the beginning, we called him a flip-flopper, and anytime we're in a debate, you know, I mention it, I run against all three of them because they are very similar. They have the same foreign policy. They're very aggressive in moving our troops around and occupying. They endorse this principle of preemptive war. They aren't interested in even talking about civil liberties. They don't talk about the Federal Reserve and what we ought to do. And nobody has provided any real cuts. And I provide real cuts because I think the debt is the problem. We have a debt crisis in this country. As a matter of fact, it's worldwide. And it's rather serious. So I see them all in the same category. I think the only difference I've been able to observe is there quite possibly would be management styles on their personalities on how they would do things, but philosophically there's no difference, and I don't hesitate to point out our differences, no matter who it is.
You know.
Yeah, except you do hesitate because you hardly ever pointed out the differences of Mitt Romney and yourself. Like, when pressed upon it, even then, it's not like he goes full bore after Mitt Romney. He just says, yeah, well, all three of them, I've got issues with all three. Anyway, next question. Okay, next question.
Because I've asked some of Santorum's supporters, why do you believe that Ron Paul would be in some sort of conspiracy to help Mitt Romney? And you know what they've said to me, Congressman? You want me to tell you, right?
Oh, come on, Wolf.
Well, if you want to.
I'm going to tell you.
Real curious.
I'm going to tell you this is what they've got, this notion that you would like to see your son Rand Paul, the Republican senator from Kentucky, on the ballot with Mitt Romney, and that's why you're supposedly protecting Mitt Romney and going after Rick Santorum. What do you think of that theory?
Well, the first thing, it hasn't crossed my mind. Second thing, I don't think it would work. And third thing, Mitt Romney would be talking in that language at all. So I think that's just, some people are much more into conspiracies than others. So if Santorum is an addict on conspiracies, I guess he's going to have to keep talking that way.
You know what? That wasn't much of a denial either, okay? And look, we brought up that topic days ago on the Young Turks here. And I said, look, I don't know about Ron Paul, but they might want to get Rand Paul on that ticket. And nothing is funnier than the way Wolf Blitzer asks questions. Would you like me to tell you that theory? And then I love when Ron Paul goes, I guess if you want to, I don't care. Your show, go for it, big guy. Anyway, but look, Wolf Blitzer did stay on the topic for a couple of questions to ask some follow-ups. And it was relevant what we learned from that. So it was overall a good question, set of questions. And you see there, it's not a strong denial. He doesn't really strongly go after Mitt Romney. I don't think that's a far-fetched idea at all. But now that people are onto it, Ron Paul has a new ad out going, what? No, I hit all three. Of course I do. Look at this new ad.
One is a serial hypocrite who lobbied for Freddie Mac before the housing crisis and for the individual mandate before Obamacare. Another, a counterfeit conservative who opposes right to work, massively increased spending, and funded Planned Parenthood. Finally, a flip-flopper who's been on all sides, supported TARP bailouts, and provided the blueprint for Obamacare. Three men, one vision. More big government, more mandates, less freedom. One man stands apart, ready to deliver real change, voting against every tax increase and every unbalanced budget every time. A real plan to cut $1 trillion year one and to balance the budget in 3. Pro-life, pro-liberty, guided by faith and principle. Ron Paul, the one who will restore America now.
I'm Ron Paul, and I approve this message.
I'm telling you, man, Ron Paul has the best, most kick-ass ads. Okay, I mean, that gets you pumped up. I'm like, oh my God, it's the one. It's the one that's going to restore America. Look, so he hits Romney there, but he's devastated Santorum and Gingrich with whole ads before, focusing solely on them. This one is like, oh, did I cover my bases? Okay, we're all okay. Everybody ignore that topic. Rand, I think we dodged the bullet on that one. Okay, we'll go back to our plan later. Okay. And by the way, as I watch those ads, I think if Ron Paul was just pro-war, he might actually win this thing. But he's got the problem of actually being principled. And so since he's not for the war, he has no chance in the Republican Party. And you might say, which war? Any war, all wars.